Just incredible!
Just incredible, man.
Just incredible. Run the thing, eh? Run it!
Let's get it. Welcome to another episode of the Just Incredible podcast. Yo, it's about to be an amazing show today. I've got my guest here today who's a personal friend of mine, an amazing MC, one of the greatest lyricists I've ever met, man. And I'm excited to have Armenian on the show today. My brother.
Thank you.
Welcome, man. Nah,
Thank you,
of course. I've been excited to talk to you in this type of setting.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We've done the radio stuff, and I'm just launching the podcast. This is episode 5, man.
Come on,
This
man.
is episode 5, and
5 Angles. You know my shit's called Pentagon Records, the 5 Angles. So you know.
Oh, really?
Glad to be a part of the early stages. Hell,
that's wild because we did Bino for episode 4, and he was telling me how that was like his favorite number. So
really, that's crazy.
Yo, the energy is
it's the 5 Angles right here. You know.
Talk to me about that, man.
You know, it was just a concept me and my boy came up with early on when we started rapping. He's like, we should call our shit the Pentagon, like the Pentagon in Washington, you know what I mean? Where they map out the plans to go to war. Like the studio is our Pentagon, you know what I mean?
Facts.
And then he's like, the deeper meaning is like it's the 5 angles. So it's the 4 corners of the world, east, west, north, south. And then the 5th angle, which is God, who guides us through everything. You know what I mean? And I'm all about like symbolism and shit like that. I'm like, yo, that's it. You know
that's
what I
it
mean?
right
so
there.
We've been running with it
Pentagon.
ever since. Yep.
The 5 angles.
Yes,
I love
sir.
that. I love that. Yeah, man. You definitely are one of the MCs, you know, I say from the city. We're going to get into your background and, you know, where, you know,
sure.
where your whole come up. But, you know, residing here in LA,
Definitely.
you put in a lot of work, man, and you continue to do it every single day, 24/7. Talk to me a little bit about that Mamba mentality that's in you, brother.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just when you really have a passion for something where it's almost like an obsession.
Yes, sir.
You know
Doesn't feel like
that,
work.
That's just all I, you know, think about when I wake up. That's all I really want to do. So, and yeah, before you know it, you wake up, you're like, man, I put in a lot of years, but you don't even, it doesn't feel like that when you're going, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just really doing what we love and keep pushing, you know?
That, and it feels like you're just getting warmed up.
For sure.
Feels like you are
And
just...
I kind of feel like that too, because I feel like even though I put in so much work, you know, it's been ups and downs, but like, finally things are happening the way it always you know, I felt like it should have been happening. The last like year or two was like, okay,
it's clicking.
Now we talking, you know what I mean?
Was it coming out of the pandemic? Or was it just starting?
It was right before the pandemic for me, really, you know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot has to do with just everything coming together really musically. I linked up with Scott Storch, which was a big...
Hell yeah.
And right before that, I had done this series called Mean Mondays. So I was just, you know, it was almost out of desperation. I'm like, nothing's working. Let me just drop a song every week. Every Monday, you know what I mean?
Wait. Yeah, I want to talk about that. Mean Mondays, this is genius, man. But it's also super brave of you as well.
Yeah, and it was, for me, it was, so this was 2017. All of 2017, I dropped a song every Monday, 52 weeks. Actually, I kept going for like 3 more months in 2018. But like, so not too many people had done that yet, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for me, it was like, I decided at end of 2016, I'm like, you know, you put in so much work in doing like a project. You put in like 6 months, a year, sometimes more. Right. And then you drop it, and like after 2 weeks, people are over it. You know what I'm saying? Because the way people consume music now, especially as like a new artist. So I was like, I got to switch things up. You know what I mean? So I decided, let me just drop a song every week. But it's not like I had a bunch of songs ready.
No, I was going to ask you about the process to this.
Yeah, which is probably the way you should do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like looking back, it would have been even more beneficial if I had at least half a year ready. We hear Russ talk about this all the time, you know, how he did it.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I had 6 months of material already ready, you know what I mean? But I just started creating in real time. So now I'm literally creating the week of. Sometimes Sunday night I'm in there, like, you know what I mean? And it was more of a SoundCloud release, you know what I'm saying?
That buzzer's about to go off. You in the fourth quarter on that.
And I promise people it's dropping, so I gotta drop, you know what I mean? And for me, it was like, you know, and I'm like a lyricist, like you said.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not like I just go in the booth and in 10 minutes the song is done. Not really. I could do it, and sometimes it happens quick like that, but I like to craft my shit.
Every
you know
bar is important.
Yeah,
Every bar is important.
But what that did for me is like, you know, it didn't blow me up or anything, but number one, it opened up a lot of doors because people saw I'm working.
Yes,
That's the year I linked up with you and Milk.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of DJs and people from the city started reaching out.
That's right.
Be Real from Cypress Hill reached out, and he was like, he had already heard of me and I had met him, but He was like, yo, I see you working, like come through Be Real TV and do like a Mean Monday section on my
I saw that
on my
online.
show. So now in addition to dropping the song every week, I'm doing like a little live performance, whether it's a freestyle or the song I just dropped. You know what I mean? Just
Content.
just content, and also building a relationship with him, which eventually led me to meeting my partners who are all in the cannabis business with Be Real. So it opened a lot of doors.
I love it.
And then secondly, what it did is like, it just sharpened my sword, you know what I'm saying? Because I got to create, so it made me a better songwriter, I feel like, and like quicker, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I experimented with different beats, and I kind of found my lane and found my sound even more than before. So,
yeah.
You know?
I think there's something to that anticipation, but the word I want to say is just like that pace you have to keep up, though. That's definitely an exercise.
That's exactly what it was.
You know what I mean? That gets you ready for just what's to come and sharpens that pen, you know? I see where it wasn't necessarily maybe the perfect way to do it.
Right.
But
and
the pros that come out of that are very special.
Exactly. And it wasn't like the best music I put out here and there. There was definitely some gems, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah.
But it helped a lot with what came after that. You know
No
what
doubt.
I mean? And it made me learn not to overthink sometimes, you know what I mean? And just like, you know what I mean? Just create the music.
As
you know?
creatives, we do tend to overthink.
For sure.
We do.
For sure.
And it's a button that's hard to turn off, you know? I think when you're releasing whatever it is, right? A clothing line, music, a book, whatever your creative outlet is, you always have that little like guy on your shoulder that's like, is it finished? Are people gonna love it?
It's like almost never finished.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
know, do you feel that anxiety, and like who do you turn to in the crew to kind of go like, Armin, we're good here. Let's put this out and keep it moving.
I think I have a solid team, which is like one of the most important things I've learned, you know what I'm saying? And people that you can really trust to give like constructive, you know, feedback.
Yeah.
But also they really know me.
Yeah.
And what I'm capable of. So like they know if I could do better or no, this is it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, as a creator, you always feel, especially sometimes you're sitting on music for a while,
right?
And then it kind of gets old to you, and then you know you start second guessing that verse. I could change it, you know what I mean? And I try to go change it, but then it's not the same feeling as when you did it. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
of
things
course.
like that you learn through experience. You know what I'm saying? But it's always a work in process, in progress. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. You've come a long way, man. You've come a long way.
Yeah, man,
I've continued to watch the elevation and growth. Mean Mondays was exciting, and you got to see it every single week.
Right.
And the current stuff you're working on, and some of the stuff you've played me. I know you're going to play me some more stuff. I'm excited to hear.
Hell yeah.
I know you've been cooking. You mentioned Be Real, and I, like 2 nights ago, I was watching, I think it's on Amazon Prime. There's a Cypress Hill documentary.
Really?
You got to check it out, man.
I have not seen that.
Super, super dope stories about the crew, man. And really took me back to some of my childhood days. And just, you know, these guys are rock stars.
Super rock stars. Man. Be Real is really big shout out to Be Real.
Big shout out to Be Real and the team.
Big shout out to my brother Be Real. He did a lot for me. Probably the most, like one of the most from anybody. Just believed in me early, and like he's like a real lover of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So every time he introduced me, he's like, yo, he's better than anybody you know. Lyrically, he can go against anybody.
All your
you know
favorite
what I'm
MCs.
Just gassing me up. You know what I'm saying? And like, but he's such a legend. You know
Such
what I'm
a
saying?
legend,
and
man.
Like, you know, we all smoked our first joint to Cypress Hill music.
Facts.
You know, I grew up in Amsterdam. I was born in LA. Over there, like Cypress Hill, the biggest shit, bro. Like, of course here too, but like the way we grew up with it,
Huge
and
in
just for
Amsterdam.
me to like be friends with him, it was so surreal and it was dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man. Shout out to
The
Be Real.
doors that they broke down. The doors
Hell
that
yeah.
they broke down. You know, they're smoking on stage. We see that now. That's normal.
Oh man,
When they was doing
they
it.
smoked on like Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm
It's
saying?
in there. It's in
And
the
got
documentary.
banned for life. You know what
Yo.
I'm saying? Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir. Shout
They
to
crazy.
Muggs and the whole Cypress Hill crew.
The
man.
way they smoke is crazy though. Like the way Be Real smokes. Like I'm a smoker, but can't keep up, bro. I go on the podcast and like, you know, they smoke an interview, and after like 20 minutes, I'm high as shit, bro. And these people are talking, asking questions. You're like, bro, like I can't, you know, what I
can't
mean?
process.
I start like doing shit like this. I'm not sure if I'm sitting straight. Like I'm stupid out of my high out of my mind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they heavy.
They take it to another level,
They're
for
heavy
sure.
smokers.
In the documentary, though, I had this in my notes to ask you. Be Real mentions a conversation early on in his career where Chuck D gave him 5 minutes of his time, and he was just saying, the advice changed his life. Has there been an artist, a producer, a big homie who's given you that 5 minutes?
That's a good question. I guess not directly like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's always like when you have conversations with people like that that's been in it for so long, it's just gems you pick up, you know what I'm saying? But really it's like encouragement, you know what I'm saying? Like just when you doubting yourself, when you've been doing this for so long and it's like things are not happening, he's like, nah, you're on the right path, bro, just keep going, you know what I'm saying? And actually when he heard, because I linked up with Scott Storch around that same time, and when he heard that, he's like, yo, I think that's really gonna elevate shit for you. Like he was really excited about it. And he's like, when you work with like one producer, it kind of gives you a sound. And you know what I mean? Like things like that, which has kind of been happening since then for me.
I love it.
Saying? So
I love it.
Man. Just keep going, really.
Yeah.
My favorite, sorry, cut you off, favorite quote from Nipsey is, he had this interview where he said, the only distinguishing quality is I didn't quit. Most of us know that. Like, it's so hard. He's like, the only distinguishing quality between me and the next guy is I just kept going, you know what I'm saying? And I see that now because a lot of people I started doing music with or that were doing music in the early days when we started, they kind of like, they stopped. You know what I mean? And, and you can't blame them. Life gets in the way and stuff, but I'm happy I didn't.
Absolutely. Yeah. You definitely learned that this is a marathon.
Marathon for sure.
For sure. Like such great gems from our bro, the late great Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And it's so true because you could have a tough Monday. I tell people all the time, like, man, I'm gonna have a tough Monday afternoon, a great Monday night, Tuesday morning, I might wake up in a different mood, and that's really the roller coaster ride that we're on. I'm grateful for my opportunities and my blessings and the people around me because you really get another chance to keep shooting in this game that we're in. And if I listen to that guy on my shoulder, I might want to give up a couple times a week nowadays,
facts, bro. No, facts.
But we stay at it, and now here we are, fast forward to Yalla Habibi.
Yes, sir.
Great record that sounds amazing in the clubs, amazing in my car.
Hell yeah.
Great on the radio.
Hell yeah.
I see you doing the work that comes with putting out a song.
Right.
Talk to me about just creating this record, getting with French in the studio, and how this came about.
Yeah, so first of all, I just, once I started working with Scott, I had this idea like, Yalla Habibi is this like very common term in the Middle Eastern community. I'm Armenian. It's not an Armenian term, but it's an Arabic term, but our cultures intertwine a lot. When you at like Armenian weddings and gatherings, there's always Arabic music, Armenian music, Persian music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a term we use. Habibi is like a term of endearment.
Okay.
I can call you Habibi, I can call a girl Habibi, and it wouldn't be weird. You know what I mean?
Like family type, like
family. It's really like, let's go, baby, but like in a thing where like, just what up, baby? What's good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Yalla is like, let's go get it. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, it'd be dope if I have like this anthem-y kind of song called Yalla Habibi, but like a hip-hop record. But then the first thing I thought of is like, I need French on it because he's, Arabic speaking from Morocco. He's Arabic speaking, so it'll be something cultural. And, the way I look, at least twice a week, I get called French Montana when I'm walking around somewhere, especially before I grew the beard a little longer. You know what I'm saying? So I was always like, I got to do something with French. So, we just, we created the record with Scott first. I did like a demo hook and everything. He actually built the beat around my vocals. You know what I'm saying?
That's how Scott cooks, huh?
Scott's a master, bro. Like he cooks everything on the spot.
Okay.
So he's never like sent beats or anything. It's always like it starts with a conversation. You go in the studio. What are we doing today? You know what I'm saying?
Damn, that's beautiful because you really get the painting. It's really customized.
Super customized.
That's so fire.
And it's like whatever happens there, like that's yours. He might make the illest beat. Like that's mine, Scott. You can't give it to like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Because you kind of help create it in a way.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
Like you giving direction and saying what you want to do. And then of course he creates it. But that one specifically, I had, laid vocals on like a scratch track. I took it to him, with like a demo hook and he built it around it. It was one of those things, 10 minutes it was done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, bro, this is crazy. And I'm like, we got to get it to French. You know what I'm saying? And my man Tubby, I don't know if you know Tubby.
I've heard the name, of course. Of course.
Sean Holiday, big executive.
Oh, shout out to
game.
Sean. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's a big supporter and a part of the team. He made that connection happen. We sent it over to him. And yeah, he was one of the few artists that I've, like kind of big artists that I work with that I wasn't in the studio together with French. But, he just took my hook idea and did his own thing and took it to a whole nother level. So when he sent that back, we're like, yo, we got one. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of wanted to start the releases off this project off with that one. I think kind of because of the cultural thing. I think it's kind of like an introductory record, you know what I mean? So we dropped.
I love it. The energy's perfect to like kick it off. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds, like I said, so good every time. It's ringing off in the clubs, man.
It's really been getting a lot of love in the clubs. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, people like yourself been super supporting it. I really, really appreciate it. But shout out to all the DJs, you know what I'm saying?
I see it. I love to see it.
And I've been popping up in the clubs just because I want to be there when they play it, and so I hear it. And people send me videos and shit a lot too, and every time the reaction's been really good. You know what I mean? The Shazams, for sure, the highest number of Shazams I've ever had. You know what I mean? Which are all good signs, you know?
It means a lot too. It means a lot, speaking on behalf of the DJs, when you pop out, show love, we've had a lot of good times in the booth, and to for us to get that support back from an artist like yourself, it really means a lot.
Hell yeah.
Talk to us about, for the artists that are watching this, what it takes to really break a record, because you mentioned the work definitely doesn't stop when it hits iTunes.
Nah, man. I mean, of course it's a digital world, so the digital push is number one. So, people do TikToks and Reels, and you know what I mean? I've been trying to do all that too. I'm not the greatest at it, you know what I mean?
It's an acquired vibe for sure.
And then, whatever content you can have with the song, of course, that's number one. And there's all this digital marketing companies or teams or whatever you try to do ads and shit like that. That's all very important. But I personally really believe in touching the people and at least blowing something up, like in your city, getting the love from the DJs, the club. If it's a club record, you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying. So I was just really going out pretty much every night.
Lighting it
3
up.
months, bro.
Lighting it up.
And it's work. Like,
it is.
Sometimes I'm literally like on the couch at like 11:30. I'm like, all right, 30 more minutes. I gotta get my ass up and go to the club. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta
Once
do
you're there,
it.
it's fun. You know what I'm saying? But it's real work when you do it night after night after night.
It's like the gym, man.
But
the hardest
you
part
gotta go
is...
and doors open every time you go somewhere. You end up meeting someone that has this other, opportunity. Sometimes, they book you to like perform the song, and, and sometimes they don't book you. You just do it just for the exposure, you know what I'm saying?
But it's planting those seeds. It's planting those seeds,
and I've been planting seeds for like a lot of years.
Yes, sir.
And that helped now, you know what I'm saying, with like the release of this record, and even with me popping out on this song for the future stuff. You know what I mean? I've been already meeting so many more people and more DJs and things like that.
For sure. Building that foundation.
That's what it's
Building
all
that
about,
foundation. Bro. I mean, I'm getting from you persistence, you know what I mean, is a great quality, because, whether we were talking about, the story of Mean Mondays or breaking this record, Yalla Habibi, there's a lot of moments that you go through where, you kind of have to self push.
Yeah, for sure.
It comes within.
I think, at the end of the day, your destiny's in your hand, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you really believe in something, like I really believe in the record, I really believe in my own abilities, I believe in my team. So like, got put in the work now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I saw some quote on Instagram. Somebody was saying something basically like, life is a beautiful game, and it's just how you play it.
Word.
It's how you set up your 4 quarters or your 9 innings. Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
We got a lot to talk about today on the podcast, man. You mentioned growing up in Amsterdam.
Yep.
What was the hip hop scene like in Amsterdam?
Man, Europe as a whole, they love hip hop, and they love like the culture, like the essence of hip hop. That's kind of how I grew up. Was like, the mainstream is the mainstream. A lot of mainstream artists we hear out here is like they don't even know them. It's really like the bigger ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's popping worldwide, and then they have a big local scene. Every country does. You know what I mean? A lot of like Dutch rappers, like sick, super like talented producers, artists, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every country kind of has that local scene, but it all came down to like, they really appreciate real hip-hop.
Real
you know
hip-hop,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Even though that term is kind of, it's real hip-hop, but everyone knows what we mean when we say it. You know what I mean? Like,
no doubt.
They appreciate the lyricism, they appreciate the passion for the actual art, because at the end of the day, of course, everybody makes money, but these smaller markets, it's always less about money, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Out here, people get lost in that quicker, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's probably where it stems from. But yeah, so I really grew up just loving, and I was introduced to hip hop by like an older family friend. So I was just always into music. And kind of leaning towards rap and hip hop, but not really knowing what's what at like 8, 9 years old. And I had this older family friend who used to come over. Like his mom was best friends with my mom. He was probably in his like early 20s.
Okay.
And he noticed that I'm so much into like music. He's like, well, if you really love hip hop, you gotta listen to this. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying?
kind of
And
gave you
I always remember he wrote down these 5 titles, and it was Nas Illmatic, Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, it was Midnight Marauders. It was KRS-One, Return of the Boom Bap, and the 5th one I always kind of forget, but I think it was like J. Rue the Damager or something,
Okay.
Sunrise in the East. He was a big Gangstar DJ Premier fan.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I got really into that. So
Wow.
it was very New York-ish, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, Amsterdam and New York, you know, they have, you know, Dutch.
It's a lot, yeah.
You know,
in
New
common
York
there.
has a Dutch history, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I really got into like real hip hop shit. You know what I'm saying? And like,
he definitely pointed you in the right
he
direction.
pointed me in the right
He
direction.
pointed you in
I'm
the right
grateful
direction.
to this day. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Because I
Bless
feel
that
like I
man.
learned a lot from that. You know what I mean? So,
If a young Armin steps to you right now, what's 3 albums you're pointing him to?
oh man, it probably started with Good Kid, Mad City.
K. Dot.
You know what I'm saying? Get Rich or Die Trying.
Woo, fifth.
Especially some Kanye shit. You know what I mean? For me, it's probably my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yo, that was gonna be one of my questions in this conversation. Was your favorite Kanye album?
Yeah, that's if I had to pick, bro. It's difficult.
But
It changes every day, but yeah.
right.
if I
They're
had to
all so good, but that one is, you know, it's just put together so
perfect.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And he said that too. I watched an interview of his too. They spent a lot of time, a lot of, you know, fine tuning. You know, I can imagine.
That's why he did that right after the whole Taylor Swift thing, if I remember
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
he felt like he had to
Prove
come
himself.
back, kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously I'll throw Illmatic or some Nas shit in
Woo, got
there. Maybe
to.
Blueprint. You know,
Oh,
it's so much now. Like,
It is. There really is. There's a lot to
Yeah.
draw from. But those 5 right there, those are.
I kind of really
special.
gave you my like favorites. you
No,
know
I
what I'm
love
saying?
it.
Like, yeah.
That's what I wanted. You're a man of the people too, man. You know, when I first was learning about you, it wasn't just as an MC. It was what you were bringing to, you know, the Armenian culture and
Yeah.
what you represented. I remember at the time there was a lot of friction going on, you know, and I don't. Everything I learned about it was really through conversations with you and watching the news and things like that. But just speak to me on what it means to you to hold that position.
Yeah, I think it's important to. First of all, it's just such a hip hop thing to represent where you from. You know what I'm saying? And me being kind of like the first of where I'm from, and hip hop being, I always say this, like, you know, originally hip hop was the voice of the streets, the voice of the people, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like I got to tell the story of my people, you know?
Yes.
And it all really started with me just doing one song called Open Wounds about the Armenian genocide.
Amazing
The Armenian
song.
genocide is something that, you know, every Armenian all over the world kind of grew up learning about, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's the reason why we like a diaspora nation, meaning it's more Armenians outside the actual country of Armenia than inside, because it was like 1.5 million people were killed. Imagine how many refugees, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so for
thank you.
generations now, because that happened in 1915, so more than 100 years ago, for generations, people have, you know, were born and raised in different countries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But somehow still kept that identity. You know what I mean? And the main thing is that the genocide was never recognized, so no one was ever held accountable for it. So that's why we say we still have an open wound. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's been like a lifelong kind of struggle, and it's really about crimes against humanity. So I just really did one song about that called Open Wounds, and we
Wounds.
created this T-shirts with it. Said our wounds are still open, 1915, and that shit just took
I remember
off.
the shirt was great. The shirt's
You know what I'm
great.
saying? And it kind of became a way of spreading the message, because the song is one thing. Music, you know, I feel like I learned more through music and film or anything than any school. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Me as
first of all, that's a way to like reach people. But then the shirt just added that extra. You know, every time I was walking around wearing it, people would stop me like, what does that mean? You know, because it was like a dope shirt.
You know, the logos and everything.
Yeah, it
right?
was just like a fire shirt, but
Yeah.
with like a powerful message. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And yeah, so that shit just grew organically, and it became like the shirt got bigger than me or anything. You know what I mean? The song, especially in our community, of course,
Yes.
every year there's protests all over the world. Everyone wearing that shirt. You know what
love
I
it,
mean?
man.
So it turned into like this nonprofit that we created and try to just work with different organizations in the community. And kind of like that, I just kind of became involved, you know what I'm saying? And that song became like such a staple in our community. So every year when on April 24th, if you're from LA, you know, like the streets are shut down.
Absolutely.
You're stuck in traffic, you're annoyed. It's because of that, you know what I mean?
It's because of that, yeah.
Because Hollywood, they shut it down and there's like tens of thousands of people protesting. And basically what they're doing is we protesting in front of the Turkish consulate, like when are you going to admit to your crimes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they always asked me to perform that song, and then it started happening all over the world. So I'm going to like Canada, Europe,
amazing.
You know what I mean, different places to like perform that song on Times Square, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it just became something that, you know, I'm definitely proud of that, and I feel like as artists, you know, I've always been in love with hip hop and music that has a message that has more than just. You know what I mean?
Of course, there's a lot of substance.
I love to have fun, but that substance is different. That's what life changing, and you know, that's part of my story and my journey. You know,
I love it, man. That's what people love about you. You know, you're a true artist, man.
Definitely, man. Thank you.
With when did that come about? Like, I'm sure you're picking up a rhyme book and you're writing at the age of, you said what, like 8 years old, maybe?
Nah, I mean,
10 years old?
I got into music like that, but but I didn't really start doing it myself. Probably like 16-ish.
16.
And I feel like I always wanted to, but it's like, imagine being an Armenian kid in the Netherlands. Like, it's just so far-fetched.
Right, it's like
you know what I'm saying?
Wild dream almost.
It's like, you're not supposed to be rapping. And you know, this was right before, you know, we didn't have anyone that looked like me. Like now, you know, hip-hop's more universal. We got French Montana, we got DJ Khaled, you know, we got all kinds of people. At that time, we had Eminem, but but white people didn't necessarily look at us as white either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where do you fit in? And it was all like, kind of like in my own mind, it was like, nah, I can't be rapping, you know what I mean? But then what happens is, you know, when you love something, eventually it gets to you. And you start kind of just writing some rhymes down just for yourself as a hobby. Not even telling too many people at first. And then slowly I was like, no, I think I'm pretty good actually, you know what I mean? And then when I graduated high school at 18, I moved back to LA. And that's when I started like going into it more. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah. Kicking down doors. You're a chosen one, my brother. You're a chosen one.
Appreciate you.
So as you start this dream and you're writing and you're getting the confidence to put the music out there, show people you're rapping and tell people, was there a transition? Because I speak to a lot of MCs and I know a lot of MCs that could rap their ass off, but writing a song is more challenging. You've seemed to have a great balance of both.
Yeah, I definitely came up first as more of like a spitter.
Come on, of course.
But to be honest, I was really creating songs, but the execution wasn't always fully there, meaning the production, the mixing, you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand all that.
Those are chapters you have to graduate.
Exactly. Those were things that I started learning about more, but I always had concepts and, you know what I mean? I always structured my verses in a way where there was a beginning and an end. So I knew I would always do it, but at the same time, I would over rap a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what kind of rap songs it was. Yeah. If it was them boom bap type of hip hop records, I would kill it and it would sound amazing. But when I would little bit try to make, you know what I mean, a little bit different type of music, I would be over rapping. Now when I listen back, I'm like, well, you got to relax, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Pull it back a
Too
little.
aggressive, you know what I mean?
It's interesting.
And that's one thing, like when I mentioned Mean Mondays and working with Scott Storch, you know what I mean? Different things like that really brought the better songwriter out of me, you know what I'm saying? And it's just really the process of learning. But I feel like I found that balance that a lot of lyricists don't find, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That's so dope, man. That's so dope. It's a journey and an evolution. And I'm so intrigued by hearing it. And it sounds like you were always, you know, painting, you're always storytelling. You're always painting those pictures.
Yeah.
It's just kind of constructing it.
It's about constructing, it's about how you attack a beat, you know what I mean? It's more cadence driven and like, you know what I mean? Catch the right pocket, bottom line. You're making music, so I learned how to use my voice as an instrument instead of always trying to impress everyone how good I can rap. Because that used to be my mindset. Like, I'd be damned if anybody out-rap me on this song, you know what I mean? But then I realized that's not always the most important thing. Yeah, you want to kill it,
of course,
but you want to kill it in a way that it makes the song great. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I rather do it that way, and if the other guy comes and kills it even more, well, you know what I mean? So be it. But that's kind of the mind state now. Let's make the best record.
The best
you know
record.
What I'm saying? And we always got LA leakers, freestyles, and things like that to go to when you really just want to like show the world that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Thank you for getting down with the LA Leaker freestyles.
Course, thank you. Yeah.
One of the first to call my phone when I started doing Hunger Flow. I appreciate every single conversation we've had and every contribution, to the platforms and my dreams, man. I'm really grateful for you, bro.
Likewise, bro. Likewise.
We definitely gonna keep this thing going.
Hell yeah.
We definitely gonna keep this thing going. So what's in the works right now? You got a project you're finalizing?
The project with Scott Storch is pretty much done. I'm really working on the rollout and how to release it. I got some big artists on there, so it's always dealing with, clearances and dealing with that. You've heard a lot of the songs, but you haven't heard everything yet.
You got some big names on this.
I got some shit, bro. So I just want to roll it out right. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the plan is by next month in August, we should be dropping the next big single.
Okay.
And then kind of go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Scott Storch, the whole project, you and Scott?
Whole project means.
That's a movie, bro.
Yeah.
That's a movie. Obviously, GOAT status, Scott Storch. What do you think it is about yourself that draws him to you?
I just feel like Scott is musically, his musical IQ is so high that, as you know, he can do anything. You know what I'm saying? But he comes from working with the Roots. You know what I mean? So like Black Thought, you know what I'm saying? Like he comes from working with Dre, Eminem, this, that. So he comes from working with real MCs. And then he does all the other stuff too, the Beyoncés, and then later like Roddy Ricch. Like just look at the range. So he understands what, you know what I mean? How to produce each type of artist. So for me, I feel like he had that perfect balance of making big records, because he just wants to make hits, by the way. Like he kind of gets annoyed when you want to do like a hip-hop record, like, or you want to do that boom bap shit, you know what I'm saying?
He's with it, but I'm Scott Storch. I make these hits.
He's like, people come to me for hits. I'm like, I know, but we making the whole project, Scott. Like, but he's totally with it, you know what I'm saying?
Right, of course.
But he's like, so he just can give me, my whole full range at the highest level.
Damn,
you know
that's
what I'm
so
saying?
sick, man.
Everything is polished, but even when it's a hip hop record, it sounds big. And he elevated my everything. You know what I mean? I had to step up to that level. So he's really a GOAT. Like I haven't worked with any other GOAT producers, meaning I haven't been in the studio to see their process, but being in there with Scott is really impressive.
Everything you could imagine.
Every single time, he does it on the spot.
So many plaques.
Yeah, and every session is impressive. Like it's pretty crazy.
You learn something each time.
Yeah,
do you got a name for the project?
I don't. I kind of do, but I'm not 100% on it yet.
Working on it.
Yeah.
Working on it. And we're going to get a new song coming very soon.
Very soon.
Y'all
featuring Quavo. I might as well say it.
There we go, Quavo.
It's going to be me and Quavo. Go ahead. That's
Quavo, you and Quavo on this next record, but you got other features on there. I'm not gonna. You've played me some stuff though that the fans are gonna be.
I've told the world that I got a song with Nas, so
yes, sir.
I might as well just say it. That one, I guess I couldn't hold it when we did it, and I didn't realize it was gonna take this long for me to release it. But that was like the ultimate thing for me.
You and Nas on a track together. This is fucking crazy because you've got records where you're shouting out the GOATs, Eminem, Nas.
That's literally how it happened, which is kind of crazy. I did this like tribute in like 2016.
Love that record.
You know what I mean? Like I was saying earlier, it was a difficult time career-wise. Nothing was really working. And I just did some mixtape shit, Nas and M. And I did this song called Letter to the King, which the first verse I'm talking to Nas, second verse I'm talking to M. You know what I mean? And it was really just my two big influences coming up and like, so, just showing them love. And then it got so much love online that we decided to shoot a little video for it. Went to Queensbridge Projects and then flew to Detroit, found out M's hood. Just me and my boy Kodo with the camera, you know what I mean? And we just put it out and that was it, you know what I'm saying? And like 3 years later, right before the pandemic, end of 2019, Nas walks in the Cookies Melrose, which is my people's store.
Yes, sir.
My boy Alex.
Shout out to fam over there, yeah.
Yes, sir. He owns it with Burner and them. He happened to be there. So, obviously they welcome him. He just walked in as a customer.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And he just welcomed them, obviously. And he's like, yo, there's this one song you really need to hear, with all due respect. Like, and he said Nas was mad cool about it. Showed him that video, that Letter to the King. Next thing you know, I don't know any of this is happening, right? So next thing you know, I get a FaceTime call and it's Nas.
Oh, what?
And I'm like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? First words that came out of my mouth. And he's like, hey, what's up, bro? I just heard that song. Mind you, that shit's like 3 years prior. So in that moment, I didn't even think of that, like, what song?
Right.
He's like, the one you did for me and M. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm so happy you finally heard it. And he's like, nah, that shit did something to me right now. And he's pointing at his chest. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's beautiful.
I feel like he probably felt it came from a genuine place.
Absolutely.
And the shit I was saying is like he's a real fan. Like, he knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and we had a brief conversation, and 3 days later, he came to the studio at Scott's house, and we created the shit on the spot together. It's a movie, like, the way it happened.
I know you had to, like, double back for a second and be like, am I dreaming right now?
Literally, because I used to have this dream coming up. Like, you know, we all have dreams, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wake up, you dreamt you was in the studio with Dr. Dre or something. Like, you know what I mean? We've had that coming up, but I always had a dream being in the studio with Nas. You know what I'm saying? It would kind of like, I would dream that a lot, and you would wake up and kind of be this. You know, sometimes it feels really real, so you wake up all disappointed and shit that it wasn't real. And then that day it was like, yo, this shit was real this time. You know what I mean? But not only was it real, like, to me, the song came out so amazing that's why I'm so happy. Like, I created the song that I always wanted to create with him. You know what I'm saying? I've hyped this song up so much, bro.
Like, in interviews, we can't wait.
Before anyone hearing it.
We can't wait.
But I feel like it's going to do the stories justice. You know what I'm saying? So it's coming soon.
Absolutely. And it's like, man, a real dream come true. You know, you stay at it. You keep that consistency.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, that pursuit. And look, man, it happened. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning.
Shout out to Esco, because after that, he's been really warm and embracing us and inviting me to, like, things, you know, King's Disease release, and Grammy. You
I
know
love when
like,
I see that.
Like, I've been around, so yeah, salute to Nas for sure.
Salute to Nas, man. GOAT for sure, for sure.
100%.
Armenian is on the Just Incredible podcast, man. We getting to it, man. We telling some stories that you've never heard before. I appreciate your honesty today. My bros here, you know, new song releasing next month, album on the way. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it had to be a dream come true to perform in Armenia recently.
Yeah, man, I just got back. That was amazing because I had never done that. You know, a lot of people just assume, but, you know, Armenians are all over the world, so a lot of times we don't even visit Armenia until we're, like, older or whatever. So I visited a couple times, but never, like, performed, like, my actual show. So, you know, 50 Cent was doing a show over there, which has never happened before either.
Wow, this is massive.
Yeah, so that alone was like such a huge thing for the country. So they announced, you know, 50 performing, you know, there's one stadium. So, like, you know, in the stadium, and then, you know, they reached out for me to open up, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was a dream come true for sure. Wow, one of the biggest crowds ever, ironically, was in Armenia that I've had a few of those huge crowds, but that shit was crazy. You know, I went on right before 50, and the love was, you know, because Armenians all over the world, they know me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Armenians in Armenia, and this is something that is a little complicated, but I'll try to explain it because, first of all, there's a language barrier.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I'm kind of like a lyrical rapper, so, like, you know, for it to connect, people kind of have to know English, but that country's been getting better at, you know, this time when I went, everyone's speaking English, you know, barely any accent. I was really, like, impressed, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wasn't really sure what to expect is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, I wasn't really sure how well they know me.
Right.
You know, I opened it up with that Open Wound song, which just to perform that in the, you know, in the motherland was a very special feeling.
Had to be so special, man.
Yeah, and the way it was received was like, it couldn't have been any better, you know what I'm saying? So
beautiful.
I'm planning on going back there soon. Hopefully, actually, before the end of the summer to do like my own show now.
Yeah.
That was created such a hype. That 50 show, you know, it was the talk of the town. It was a huge thing, you know what I'm saying? Talk of the country, I should say.
Talk of the country.
So it was a big thing, man. Shout out to Fifth, too. I didn't get to really kick it with Fifth, but I connected with Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder. You know what I'm saying? They were like, yo, we need the plug for the loud out here. You know what I'm saying? So I hooked them up with, but like weed is not easy to get in countries like that. First of all, it's super illegal. So I was trying to explain to him, like, yo, I got homies that got locked up for a year that coming from LA trying to bring weed with them. Like, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful, for sure.
So Yayo was like, oh, you telling me I shouldn't smoke on stage? I'm like, nah, bro, this ain't the crowd. Like,
don't do that.
Someone's gonna call the cops. They're gonna arrest you. You're gonna be stuck out here. And culturally, it might not translate fully. Like, he's like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
You really put him up on some game.
It was dope. It was dope. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to Yayo and Uncle Murder too.
How far is that flight from here to get to Armenia?
It's far. It's about total about 16 hours. You usually go through Europe. So like 11 to 12 hours, either like Germany, Amsterdam, Paris.
Yep.
We actually flew through Qatar because it was kind of last minute. Qatar was like 16 hours itself, and then another 4 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. But yeah, it's far.
Did this come about like? Because I feel like we speak once a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know this was happening really till you're on Instagram.
Yep.
You know, talking about the excitement.
It got confirmed literally a week before the show. So they started reaching out maybe like 3 weeks before the show.
Yeah.
But things were moving a little slow. And
Yeah.
by the time it got confirmed that we booked our flights, it was only like a week left.
Yeah.
So that's when I started posting it, and we started arranging the travel, and you know what I mean?
No doubt.
And then while we were there, we shot a crazy video for one of the songs
Off of the album.
off of the album.
Dope.
I always wanted to shoot something there, so
Yeah.
that was an amazing opportunity. And yeah, man.
Do you ever get nervous still when it comes to performing?
Not really, bro. Like a lot of people asked me that same day while I was on the side of the stage. Yeah, you get a little bit butterflies right before you go on, but it's really just excitement.
Anxious.
Anxious, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm seasoned now, and I've performed in front of massive crowds, and I've performed in front of super uncomfortable 20 people crowds where they're
been
just
there.
looking at you and doing nothing. I've been there, you know what I'm
done
saying?
that.
So at this point, it's like whatever. You know what I mean? I'll usually win them over, and even if I don't, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know what I mean?
Right.
Knock on wood, I haven't been booed or anything.
Right.
So, but I've been in those uncomfortable situations, so I usually know how to control it.
How to
so
move
at this
it.
point, it's like, yeah, you
A
know
true
what I mean?
MC, move the
especially
crowd.
when I get to the venue, maybe before, when I don't know what to expect, it's a little bit like nerves or whatever. Once I get there and kind of see the layout, see what kind of crowd I'm dealing with, in my mind, I already know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Born to
and
do
then,
this.
so before I go on stage, it's easy at this point, to be
It's
honest.
like, let's get it. Let's
go.
get it. Let's
it's just
get
excitement.
it on.
Like,
yeah,
you know
no
what I mean?
doubt.
Like, I'm always like, I don't want it to be over. Like, when I'm on stage, I'm like, damn, only one more song. You know what I mean? I'm having fun.
Adrenaline. Yeah, you're
I'm
having a great
fun.
time.
Yeah, so that's really what it is.
You was born to do this, my brother. Born to do
man.
this. You're definitely living your destiny right now.
My brother, thank you.
When you're watching 50 too, when he's on stage, you picking up anything from the playbook? Because one thing I learned from a set I did with 50 recently, and this was just in a club setting, was
I was there. San Diego.
Yo,
I was
San
there.
Diego,
I
we
pulled
went
up,
crazy.
Which had nothing to do with each other, but I happened to be there.
That's right. What a good time.
But yeah, tell the story.
He's so polished, you know what I mean? Like, he works that crowd, and
Legend,
his
bro.
timing with the songs, and yeah, true legendary status, man. And
True
I
legend.
just wondering, performer to performer, MC to MC, because don't get it fucked up. 50 got them hits, but he got them bars. Like,
absolutely.
He busting them raps, like,
He's
you know what I'm saying?
super completely doing it live, first of all.
He's
really
he rapping over no vocals, like, he's getting to the shit.
And it's like he did like an hour and a half set, I want to say. And it was just hit after hit after hit. Then he did In the Club, and I'm thinking that's the last song. I make my way backstage and shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they call him back on stage for an encore, and he goes another like 30 minutes, and he did a bunch of hits. I forgot. Yeah, like you forget
So many
how
number
many.
ones.
So honestly, that was really what. Usually, that's what happens with a legacy act, right? Like
Yeah.
you forget how many records they really got until you see him live. You're like, oh my God, this one too, and this one too, and the whole crowd. This is Armenia, bro. This is the whole other side of the world. Everyone knows every fucking word for an hour and a half. So it's just like, man, we got a long way to go. That's really what it makes you know what I'm saying? But obviously his performance was flawless, you know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Shout out to 50 Cent, man. Every time I've had interactions with Fifth, stand up dude.
Hell yeah.
It's great when you kind of have a chance to meet your idols and people who you
Definitely.
grew up listening to as a fan, and they're just equally as solid and as good as a person when you meet them.
That's the best feeling, right? When you're not disappointed.
Exactly.
I've been getting to meet a lot of people too, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like
You know when it's real, when it's genuine.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Do you? We spoke about Nas earlier. I know he's one of your favorites, favorite artist who you've got a song with, which will be releasing soon. You got a favorite verse from Nas that comes to mind?
there's just so many, bro.
So many
like
quality classic verses.
But like, I mean, all of Illmatic, obviously, but It Was Written has a lot of gems.
I love It Was Written.
I
man.
love If I Rule the World so much just because that's when he became the superstar. And I feel like for like a prolific MC to like figure out how to make a record like that but still be so ill on the
So
verses.
ill.
You know what I'm saying? So that's really special.
He mastered that.
I Gave You Power is one of my favorites just because, like he's talking from the point of view of a gun, but like he did that before any, that wasn't really a thing.
He
like,
was one of the ones.
Everything's kind of been done from different perspectives and all that. So, but it's just so many.
So many good
ones. I can go on later. Like King's Disease has so many amazing, you know what I'm saying? Shit.
He so many timeless records and albums, man. It was written, definitely one of the ones that crafted my love for hip hop.
Yeah,
and then circle back. Of course, I was familiar with Illmatic, but hearing it was written kind of went back to Illmatic. It's like these are perfect pictures, and at that time never have traveled to New York.
Right. No, me neither.
Queensbridge, to be specific. You like, damn, it's like a movie almost.
It really is what like Snoop and Dre and them did for like, you in the West Coast.
Well said.
What like I feel like Good Kid, Mad City did later on, for the West Coast is like, Nas's projects always like you feel you in Queens. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like that Mobb Deep, Nas, that shit, that whole vibe is one of my favorite shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Great moments, great albums, great inspiration to draw from.
Absolutely.
Where do you draw your inspiration from where we sit now?
At this point, it's really just like everyday life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep pursuing the dream and like, it's just things you go through, things you see your people close to you go through. You know what I'm saying?
Our people are going through a lot.
Everyone going through a lot. Everyone going through a lot right now. I agree. It's a crazy time the last few years. So it's if anything, is a lot of inspiration out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Yo, before you get out of here, I've been doing this segment on the podcast where we create a big three team, kind of basketball style, but of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So you'll draft someone, I'll draft someone. You know what I'm saying? We'll put together a squad of three. Could be from any era. Any era.
That's a tricky.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we gonna put it online and we gonna let the people pick whose team can go head to head. You know what I'm saying? So if you're up for it, man, I would love to do the draft with you.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I got home court right now, but I'm gonna let you take the first selection in the Just Incredible Big Three draft.
So it's just anyone.
Who you gotta have your first piece. This is your first piece to the team. So it's got to be a leader for you.
Yeah, I mean, Nas has to be one of the three. So I guess we just start off with that.
Nas will
for me. He's always been number one. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess let's start with that and let's start with Nas. Where you go.
For me, I'm gonna take. I've been really doing some homework and going back, and I want to take Ice Cube.
Oh wow!
I want to take Ice Cube as my first amazing. Because interviewing you makes you have a lot of qualities. That Cube reminds me of. You remind me of with Cube.
Okay,
he's just like a centerpiece to me.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? A dude that was down to break down so many barriers. We talked about, similar to Cypress Hill early on, and his pen game is so fucking strong. So I'll go Ice Cube with my first draft.
That's fire. Okay, so I think we have to kind of stay in that era in that case.
Let's do it.
Because otherwise it might be a little imbalanced. So we going for three that can go against any other three in like making records or like just rap, like... Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm really thinking like, cause we talk about 50 a lot. He be fire, but I'm kind of leaning against to Kendrick, to be honest, cause Kendrick is to me kind of like a mix of those two.
Yeah.
Like he's the storyteller, but he's like the new. Yeah, let's go with K Dot, man.
You got Dot. It's a great selection.
Dot's in my top 5 too, so like,
of all time.
It has to be, bro.
Come on.
It's more than 5 in my top 5. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it probably
like it's too many. Yeah, it changes every day.
Yeah.
But like Kendrick is a...
Okay, I'm gonna go Kanye West for my second pick.
Okay.
For my second pick. I think from a production standpoint.
Yeah, you can't beat Kanye.
And his raps, you know what I mean? And creatively, I think having him and Ice Cube on the same squad, I'm in good shape. I'm gonna take Kanye West for number 2.
So I went Nas, Kendrick.
Whew. Lyrically, you are
I went
going
lyrically
crazy.
So I need who should I go with? There's a lot of names going through my head. I'll go with Wayne. Yeah, because Wayne can keep up with them lyrically, but he gonna give you like a crazy hook.
Woo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wayne's strong.
Yeah.
Wayne is
I go with
strong.
Wayne.
Some of those Wayne mixtapes are mixtape Wayne.
Bro, I was listening to they just dropped this Hip Hop 50 project.
Yes.
That DJ, I guess, Mass Appeal's dropping this
Fire.
with like different producers. So DJ Premier was the first one. I was watching the Breakfast Club interview, and then I checked it out, and there's a song with Wayne on there, and he just goes so stupid over Primo beat, and it's just like, man, like still every time you hear a Wayne verse, you just
still
shake your
feel
head
like
Jesus Christ, bro.
He's still going that strong.
Yeah, that verse is crazy. If you haven't heard it,
I'm gonna
you
peep
should-
it.
you should peep
I
it
seen
out.
Primo talking about it on the gram and
That
everything.
shit
I'm gonna
crazy.
peep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne's
I'll go
Wayne's
with
a
Wayne.
go. Okay, you going Wayne. You got Kendrick, which represents the new school, the new generation. I'm gonna go for my third and final pick. I'm gonna put J. Cole in there.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put J. Cole in there. I think that's a fire balance.
You can't go wrong with your three.
You know what I mean? Both of our threes,
Both of
man.
our threes are pretty strong.
This is a
bro.
strong big three.
Yeah.
And I think about it, it's right. I go Ice Cube. Testament to the big three.
Big three, yeah.
Shout out Cube.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a fire three you got there, man. And I just love that exercise because it makes us appreciate.
That's fun. Yeah, that's dope.
You know what I mean? There's so many great talents in our culture. And I feel blessed to be in this culture, man. I feel
Likewise,
blessed to
bro.
sit here today with you, man. I'm
Likewise.
proud of you, my brother.
My brother, thank you. Appreciate
I love
all your
watching
support.
every time.
And I
man.
love seeing what you're doing too. Like just when you thought Just Incredibles at the top, you leveling up, doing mixtapes,
Thank you.
podcasts. Like
I appreciate it.
That shit is inspiring, bro.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
man. You are a huge part of
My dog.
this journey. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of conversations. I'm thankful for every single moment, every single conversation, every single interaction, not just you, but your whole team, man. I love kicking it with you, whether it's in the studio or we're just chopping it up on the phone, man. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I want, sky's the limit, man. I see it for you. I believe in myself the same way. And I felt like the energy had to happen today with this podcast, man.
Definitely. Thank you, bro.
Love, my brother.
Respect.
Be on the lookout for Armenian's new project. It's on the way very soon. Yalla Habibi out right now. King James, too. King James.
Yeah,
It's
King James featuring Jeremiah.
Yes, sir.
Big
Iconic.
joint for me. Yeah.
Big record. Performed at the Laker game? They
Yeah,
played at the Lakers.
They played it multiple times at the Laker game. Yeah.
Nah, but come on, ESPN.
Oh, they played Yalla Habibi. Oh, yeah, ESPN.
Yes.
That's right. ESPN licensed King James. So it was actually going on TV throughout the Laker game. Yeah, but in the stadium, too. And shout out DJ Roche. He played
Roche.
Yalla Habibi a bunch of times, too.
I love
Without
it.
me knowing. He just sent me a video. I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I
So
mean?
dope, man.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
These are great moments, man. I'm excited every time I see you, man. We're all cheering for you. We're rooting for
Thank
you.
you, bro.
Please check out it's Letter to Kings, right? If you haven't heard Letter to Kings.
Letter to the King.
Letter
That's
to the
on
King.
YouTube because it's like a mixtape joint.
Yes, please check that out.
Check
the
that
video's out too.
Yep.
Open Wounds, a phenomenal record. King James, Yalla Habibi. Just search Armene on all streaming platforms. This shit is fucking fire. And yeah, man, once again, thank you for being here, my brother.
Love. Thank you.
For more videos like this, more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Watch Just Incredible on YouTube. Please drop a comment, hit that like button, and yeah, hit that subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Thank you for checking out today's podcast. I'm Just Incredible. You can catch me on that gram at Justin_credible. That's my IG handle. Armene, bust yours real quick, my brother.
At Armene. It's the letter R and then mean. Like
At-
mean motherfucker. RMEAN.
And them bars are mean.
Come on, baby.
Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Just Incredible's podcast. Peace and love.
Just incredible!
Hey yo, just incredible.
You don't know, eh?
Keep winning.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you to everyone who watched this podcast. The music you're hearing, that's provided by LA's own The Eastie Boys. If you enjoyed watching this, please hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, and while you're there, tap that subscribe button so you can subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. There's more content just like this, and trust me, a lot more on the way. To keep up with me off of YouTube, follow me on Instagram at Justin_credible or my TikTok. You can just search Watch Just Incredible. Thank you so much for watching.